Good afternoon. It's Celeste of Astrology by Celeste. Yes, it is. And I'm so excited. I'm going to be talking to Clarissa Dolphin, an amazing astrologer, today. Hi, Tiffany, that kind of girl. So nice to see you. And Winsol and Labib and Rosa Luna Sola. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Lara. So nice to see you, as always. Welcome on this Friday morning. It's afternoon now. It is raining out here in California. Yes, it is. A surprise rainstorm. Hello, hello. Hi, Vixen Notes and Cheryl in the LBC. Hey, Fred, shut up. So good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so today the sun is in Aries and the moon is in Scorpio. So both in the sun and the moon are reporting into Mars, which is transiting the sign of let me see, invite to join. Hi, Clarissa. I'm going to hit invite to join. Oh, you're in New Zealand. Hi, Yvonne. So nice to see you. Labib, you're in New Zealand. It's nice and sunny there. Well, I would think so in the beautiful New Zealand. Yeah. Oh, glad. I'm glad Vixen notes the full moon hit you hard. Yes, that was a bit important full moon. So I hit the invite to join button, Clarissa. So you should be able to just hit it to accept it, or you can push the little, it looks like a camera at the bottom, and that should let you join me. Oh, wait, let me invite again. Okay, you should be able to accept and come on screen, I hope. Oh, yes, you do have to join from your phone. Yes, okay. Yeah. Come on your phone, Clarissa. Uh-oh. Yes, with Instagram, you can only join on your phone. You can't join a live from your computer. You can watch maybe, but you can't join. Okay, well, let me keep talking about, oh, thank you, Catherine. I just came from the beauty parlor. So I just got my hair done from Tamisha. She's an amazing stylist here in Oakland. Yes, so I'm feeling good about this Friday. Venus is in a sextile with Neptune, so it's a lovely day to get your hair done. Yes, it is. And yeah, so anyway, the sun and the moon are both reporting into Mars and Cancer. So Mars is in its sign of fall in Cancer. So it really does not like to be in water, because you think about you're in water and taking action. It's like, it's hard, it's dispersed, it's all of that kind of stuff. So people can be especially emotionally reactive this weekend. So just be aware of that and aware of it for yourself and other people with this. Yay. Hi, Clarissa.
Hey,
So good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. Your writing is just so amazing. I love reading your horoscope columns, and they're so accurate. I actually find my sun sign is sometimes is more accurate than my rising sign. Yeah, and I love what you write. So let me introduce you to my audience. So Clarissa Dolphin is a certified harmonic astrologer, and I can't wait to find out more about harmonic astrology, writer and researcher. And you have your B.A. from University of Pittsburgh, and that's where my mother went to college. And I was born in Pittsburgh. I only lived there for a couple of months. How interesting. I just made that connection. And your master's from the University of Arts in London. And I love your horoscopes for the Mountain Astrologer. And yeah, you've written for all kinds of publications, from the New York Times to Dirty Laundry. And it's really exciting. And you're the president of ESAR. And I went to my first
Star Club?
what do you call it? No, the thing we went to last August. The first conference, the word went out of my head. Yeah, last year, and it was amazing. So congratulations on the success of that event.
I'm so sad that we didn't meet though now.
I know. How did we not meet at Easter? Next time, are you going to Norwalk this year? Yes, so we will meet in person in Norwalk. Yes. Cool. Yes. Yeah, so is there anything you want to add to your introduction that I missed?
Thank you. I appreciate all of it. I also want to say I loved the theme song that you picked for me, and I had no idea that there was a dolphin song in Prince's catalog. I was like, okay, I can like die happy, filled with joy now. Like, I'm complete.
Exactly. I love picking people's theme songs, and I was like, well, what should I pick? And then I found that. I was so excited. And Prince and what a perfect day for this with Venus, sextile Neptune. Yeah, I feel like your writing has that kind of, I feel like it's kind of transportative. Like you have this ability to create like this with your words, bringing up this like imagery of I don't know, it's almost like magical places, which I really enjoy. So yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, anyone you could push the carrot to follow Clarissa, or if you're new to me, follow me as well. But today we're just going to rap about astrology and anything else that comes up. But I wanted you to tell us all about harmonic astrology and what that means and how it's different.
I'd be delighted to, and I can't wait to hear your feedback too, Celeste, and everybody else who's joining us too, because it's kind of a trip, but it's cool. Like, so basically, I think like I can go hyper nerd immediately, but I think like I'd like us to kind of just like engage in some questions, because if you answer these questions for yourself, you already know what it is. You'll already know. So one question is like, first question is, do you believe in other dimensions? Period. Like other dimensional realities, that they exist. The second question would be, do you believe that like everything in the universe, you know, be it planets, like the desk or your dog or whatever, doesn't matter. Do you believe that we're all joined through one source, like one interconnected thing? And then the third question is, do you believe that reality is created, that everything real or all of it is energy based? And so if you say yes to like any of those, then that's kind of like the premise and like kind of the purview of harmonic astrology. And so how that applies to astrology is actually kind of more simple. So the astrology that we are all trained in and practiced, and that actually works for us, you know, like archetypes work, etc. That's very earth-based. And so it's like when we start traveling into outer space and inhabiting other galaxies and really being on spaceships as a human species, we're going to have people born on different planets. We're going to have people born in spaceships. We will no longer be able to apply Earth-based archetypes. Like, we're going to have, and so we have to like think differently more about the trigonometry, the shapes and the symmetries and the frequencies of the astrology chart than, you know, how we divide up the sky. Because in some places we won't have the sky. And so how harmonic astrology comes in with that is it's actually simple. So it's like another thing is like how mostly we've been practicing, I would say for the past 100 years, like since the Theosophists, like the early 1900s and like Galileo, you know, and beyond, like we've been kind of practicing it more with the like psychology and sociology. So it's more like a humanities thing, which is amazing because that gets people involved in the conversation because we can relate it to ourselves as humans. And it's beautiful. And I have respect for all kinds of astrology because if you're an astrologer and you're good at it and it works, like it's the bomb. And like harmonic astrology is now we're entering into like if we're going to do college, like university, harmonic astrology is more astrology as a science, B.A.s, Bachelor of Science, because we start looking at like, okay, here's the 360-degree wheel that every astrologer, Western astrologer uses. We call the natal chart the first harmonic. And so from the natal chart, you can just look at the sky, period. We're interpreting things in our direct kind of space-time 3D reality. In harmonic astrology, the 360-degree circle becomes infinite, period. And so we can divide it up infinitely, and the way that we divide it up, we get transported into different dimensions of reality that create our reality. So that's kind of it.
Oh, wow. Okay. You just tripped me out. Okay. So Anna asked, what are your big three? Are you an Aquarius, she asked, but what are your big three?
I'm an anoretic Gemini rising, so 2931. Virgo moon, which is also obvious, I'm sure. Like, I think it's like a psycho moon, no offense to other Virgo moons, and then I'm a Cancer sun.
I love it. And where's your Mercury?
Too.
Oh, how cool. So your Mercury in Cancer rules your sun and your moon. You said your moon was in Virgo. Yeah. Your sun and your moon. And okay, so you're going to have to explain this to me. So, okay, so we have the natal chart. So you have the 360-degree chart. And then how do you go from there with the harmonics? Like, do you use the same sort of chart to look at it? Or is it kind of like Uranian astrology? Or like, tell us more.
I want to know your about top three too, Celeste. Like, maybe we can pocket that later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Taurus sun, Aries moon, and Cancer rising.
Oh my God. Like, first off, before I answer your question, literally everyone in my soul fam, I kid you not, like direct soul fam, have Aries moons, period.
Oh, I love it.
It makes me so happy.
I love it. Yes. And my Jupiter's at 29 degrees of Libra. So we have that Sun-Jupiter connection. No wonder we like each other.
Your Jupiter is literally conjunct my Pluto. Mine's at like 2912 Libra. Pluto.
Ah, very cool. Okay, so now we see how you can get out into these different dimensions with that Sun Pluto. Yes, trine. I love that. At the anoretic degrees. That's so cool.
I didn't even think about that. That's why I love talking to astrologers. Let me answer your question though. Like, so how do you do the 360 and get to harmonic? Like, what does that even mean? Like, so we astrologers already use harmonics naturally. Harmonics are aspects. End of story. So like the opposition aspect, which is 180 degrees, it literally slices the chart in half. It's one half, one like fraction. It's a fraction of a chart. So one half, so 1/2, right? Like, and so the denominator of however you decide to slice the 360 infinitely, that is the harmonic. So an opposition aspect that we're reading is the second harmonic. The square aspect is the fourth harmonic. It's 1/4 of a chart. You see what I'm saying? In the trine, 1/3. And so the concept in harmonic astrology is that you could have 1/1000th. You can have 1/13th. You can have 1/11th. Like, you don't need to stop at those aspects. And it's actually true. Like, we think of the square as the hard aspect, and it's activating, etc. In harmonic astrology, the fourth harmonic, the square, is just the energy of action. Period. So it's like again, like astrologers are already using harmonics when we talk about aspects.
Yes, that makes total sense. And my favorite aspect is the quintile. So what harmonic is that? Is that the
You
12th?
just
Wait.
got me so excited about that. The quintile is the fifth harmonic, and it's actually such a joyous
Oh, fifth.
aspect because it's just like creative and it's like
Mm-hmm.
free and like moving around, you know? So it's such a trip that that's your favorite aspect because it's such a good vibe.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I feel I love it. I call it the grace note
Ooh.
when we have quintiles. It's just like it synthesizes the different energies in such unique ways, I feel like, with the quintile. The quintile, Anna, is 72 degrees, is a quintile. And a biquintile is 144 degrees. So you either have to have a really math brain or look at a chart, look at the aspect
Yeah.
to see.
Ooh, okay. So I really want to learn even more about how you work with the quintile and the biquintile. Like, do you use them during sessions or how does that? Yeah.
If I see a bunch of them in the chart, I will talk about them with people. Yeah, I have my son biquintile Uranus, so that's how. And I have like 4 or 5 of them in my chart, so that's why. And so sometimes when I'm talking to people, and I'll ask them about like the nature of a quintile, if it jumps out at me, or biquintile in their chart, especially if we're talking about topics that reflect how they may be synthesizing these like really different energies
Yeah.
in creative
Oh,
ways.
so
So
cool.
yeah, yeah. What is
You
your
know
favorite
what? I
aspect?
don't even know if I have a favorite. When we started, like before I came on today, like
Yeah.
during your live, you were talking about Mars. I would say like I'm like really into all the active aspects. So I like the square. I like stuff like that. I know there's like a lot of hateration out there in astrology for things like that, but I just like, I feel like sometimes like the trine and the sextiles, they can be amazing, but they can also be overwhelming depending on the circumstance because you can't really like stop the flow of the trine or the sextile. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like
Mm.
a constant river of energy, whereas the square, you have more like authority. I'm gonna do it. Like it's kind of yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to help people not be afraid of the squares because this is when like the big things pop into our lives. Again, yeah, and they can be really positive things. And the square, like you've got this goal and you're working, 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 and then you finally have the success.
Yeah.
That's the square. And versus like, oh, it's just easy, whatever, with the trine, that easy flow, which can send things down the tube also very quickly. So trines can also be like, ugh.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah, I totally agree with you about the square being that's where the action is
all
at.
about that
Yes.
action. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's a okay, here's a question. When you do harmonic charts, do you explain aspects as you do for the natal chart, or do you look for something else? So, like if you were looking at someone's chart, how would you?
Well, so I would not explain. So this is such a good question. And it's kind of like really visual, which is like harmonic astrology kind of in
Mhm.
general. So I want to answer this question kind of thoroughly and invite us all to just like play with it and just like visualize it. Um, so we use different types of vocabulary to express what's strong in harmonic chart. We use things like currents, like electrical currents. We also use things like octaves, resonance. If something is resonating, because we're looking at things that are like buzzing, like straight up. Like I was thinking about a Tesla coil. You know how you can see the electricity like bouncing around inside that thing? That's exactly what
Mhm.
a harmonic chart is kind of looking like. And so basically, long story short, like if you even pull up my natal chart, it doesn't look like there's that. I have one trine with Sun and Mars and like a sextile and a square. You know what I mean? I don't really have, but if you look at a harmonic chart, you'll see things like cardinal crosses, um, kites. You'll see
Oh.
like crazy shapes with strong, thick lines and like 5 planets, 10 planets connected. And so when you see those harmonics, you know that's a strong chart because you don't have just like one aspect or anything. So that's one thing to kind of like consider in response to that question. The second thing is like in harmonic charts, there are rules. So we only read patterns or currents with 3 or more planets. Yeah.
Oh.
So 3 or more planets in every harmonic, that's a current. And then there are exceptions. The one exception to that that I can think of is the quincunx aspect. That doesn't require a 3rd planet in harmonics. But generally, so when we're, for example, like there are the base 6 harmonics, the quintile, 5, 7, the septile, the 8th harmonic, then there's the 9th harmonic, and the 11th and 13th. The 11th and 13th, they don't have names in astrology. The 13th harmonic, according to my humble research, that's like an opus thing that I'd love to explore like way more, you know, in the years to come. The 13th harmonic can also be associated like from Chaldean times with dodecademoria. Even though dodeca is 12, for some reason, some astrologers from back in the day considered the 13th harmonic dodecademoria. So that's a whole other story or whatever. But basically, long story short, like we open up your harmonics, and then so what I'm looking for in a harmonic chart, are there 3 or more planets? Is there a quincunx? What shapes, what currents are present here? If they're not that many, it's not a strong energy zone. If there's like a crazy kite and like an isotrap and all these like strong shapes, that's strong harmonic for you.
And then what does that mean? So like translate your own chart. What strong harmonics did you see with the harmonic chart that you couldn't see with just a regular chart? And what is it like? What did it mean for your life?
That's such a beautiful question. That's so awesome. So one of my highest harmonics is the 22nd harmonic. And so that's 11 times 2. The 11th harmonic is insatiable restlessness, like eternal hunger, you know, and basically it moves like this. And things about harmonics is that they have qualities of energy as well, right? Like the 5th harmonic, the quintile that we were talking about, it moves, but it moves like it's chilling, you know? The 11th harmonic is like, it's like, like it's insane moving. And then the septile, the 7th harmonic is like, sick. It does not move, etc. So anyway, I've got 2 kind of moving things, right? I got the 2, which is, you know, with others. And then I have the 11th harmonic, which is insatiable restlessness. And also with that, like, okay, so we get like the quality of the 11, like it's going like the, you can tell, right? Like how hyper am I? I'm like insane right now, you know, very 11th harmonic. But then if we're talking about like a human vessel, like you know, like my body as a human, like 11th harmonic people typically live on the edge. We need to train ourselves how to sleep. Literally every single 11th harmonic chart that I've read, and it's hilarious. Like, it's hilarious how that, like, we were all ravers. I was born in 1984, so we were all straight up ravers in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and that's very 11th. Yeah.
Oh, so it has to do with like the generation too?
So I think in some cases, like, so 11th harmonic in, let's say, people who were born like in the 60s or 50s, that would be like Studio 54 on the dance floor 247 period. And another 11th harmonic person that that's very 11 is Miles Davis, and he was 11th harmonic in so many ways, right? Like just creating hard bop, bebop, and like killing it. But he was also 11th harmonic in terms of being on the edge and being a futurist, you know, like being unapologetically black, for example.
Mm.
When he was, that was way
Yeah.
future. That was like crazy, you know what I mean? So, and he was exciting, you know. There's something, Richard Pryor, also an 11th harmonic person, living on the edge, maybe doing too much, but exciting, alive,
Mm.
you know. That's so, and that kind of changed
Yeah.
my life in terms of just, you know, I made myself wrong when I was younger and before I found harmonics about like, why am I
Uh-huh.
at the drum and bass club? Why did I spend most of my 20s like, you know, like really kind of on this kind of party element? Well, I'm 11th harmonic. Like, what else am I going to be doing? You know? And also like, why can't I sleep? Why can't I blah, blah, blah? It's like that kind of explains it. It's my highest energy. So of
Uh-huh.
course I'm going to
Ah.
be like that.
So you had this insatiable need for
Yeah. And
experiences?
just being out and about, like
Ex-
just in it, you know?
okay. Okay. Oh, so okay, that explained a lot about yourself. And yeah. And I can see it like with
Yeah.
also with like Sun trine Mars, there's a lot of energy there. So, and how do you metabolize it? And so once you realize that, were you able to find tools, or is there something around the vibrational astrology that helped you? Okay, how am I going to sleep better learning through this system? Was there something that connected you
I
to help you with
No, I
the
feel
like the
like
sleep
that was like
patterns?
regular astrology, Saturn return, like, girl, you need to learn how to sleep now. You know, like,
Okay. But it just explained, it
it did.
illuminated
And
for
you know,
you that you
that
have this.
same kind of energy, because it's a Mars, Jupiter, Uranus energy in that harmonic. And it
Mhm.
also, one thing that it totally cleared up for me was being an entrepreneur. Mars, Jupiter, Uranus in the 11th, like, you can't be like sitting at a desk, like, and that's what I really tried to conform to that. I was like, let me get like a regular job, you know, and that, knowing that, it was like, okay, no, I totally accept being out here in the world on a hustle. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I can just let that go now, you know?
So it told you, yeah, yeah. You don't want a boss. You are the boss. Yeah, you need to do your own thing. And what better way, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, to you be an astrologer, and to be an astrologer where you focus in on this exciting form of astrology. Yeah, so let's talk about the
Ooh.
Quincunx. That's another aspect that always,
Yeah.
jumps out at me when I see it in charts. It, and Bernadette Brady described it as where you quincunxes move you into a new situation and you have to release and let go of something. And I've seen that happen again and again with people in their charts. So how do you use the quincunx by transit or in a
Ooh, you
chart
gave
or
me
what have you?
chills. And don't you love how, like, when you speak astrology, like, you can just connect with any astrologer from different, like, systems and techniques? Because what you shared and what you see in clients' charts is a lot of how, like, I describe and define it. I'm about to Virgo moon it, and bust out, like, my
Uh-huh.
actual, written definition and shared it. Because I did the Quincunx, the Arabic parts, the with Sun, Ascendant, Moon, and also the lunar nodes. That's my research and read the research that I devoted years to,
Mm.
from a harmonic angle, but just kind of in general, and Chiron as well. I've researched Chiron. I'm into all this. So, like, according to my humble research, Chiron's a lot like what you just shared. It is the
Mhm.
eternal puberty aspect because it's always growing, like, and it is very much like puberty. Like, it's like, I if you think back to when you were a kid and you finally hit puberty, it's like there's so much fear and actual literal physical pain. Like, my joints were hurting, like it was like my body's hurting, you know. Also, this excitement about growing, but literally really no information about where you're going to end up or how exactly you're going to get there. And then also just kind of like wanting to be an adult, but being totally terrified and just like not understanding what that even means. So basically, and this goes back to harmonic astrology too, because like if you're reading the Quincunx, like in its general kind of like form, it is this growth, pubescent, weird thing. It's growing, like it's a moving aspect, but it's moving not like, like squares direct, boom. It knows where it wants to go. That's the kind of energy, that's the kind of movement. It's growing like, like it's just so, it has this kind of like awkwardness in being because it doesn't know what it's going to be, but it's still growing. What do you think about the Quincunx and all of it?
Yeah, I like how you describe it. It's like an irritation. I think Rick Levine describes it as like a fly buzzing in your ear. And so for anybody who doesn't know, a quincunx is the 150-degree aspect. So they're planets. You can think of them at the same degree or pretty close to it in signs that have nothing in common by modality or by element. So let's say the sun in Aries could be quincunx something in Virgo or Scorpio at the same degree. So yeah, so there would be like, what do you think is a good example? Sun, quincunx, Jupiter.
Ooh.
How would you describe
Sun,
that?
Quincunx, Jupiter. Chart? I would describe that as not knowing how to expand yourself. That being like a total gray area, period.
So maybe the person more plays small.
I would say plays small and just doesn't.
Like they have this big dream, but they don't know how to get to it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly that. And
Would
maybe even not having the dream. And I do agree with playing small.
Oh.
Just not really seeing how it can grow on its own, Yeah.
Yeah. And then by aspect, when things hit that quincunx, that maybe could be when they find like some way to break through the irritation. Do you think that makes sense?
I totally agree with you. And I'd actually like to, because your forecasting is just so fire. I would actually love to kind of pick your brain on that because I think in harmonic astrology, like we've got like the natal chart like super down, like it's so fire, and there's still kind of like an opening in terms of how things play out in harmonics by aspect. So I don't know, by aspect meaning transit. By transit, something like triggering that. So what has been your experience with quincunx transit?
Yeah, I see that happening with myself. Once, like, I hurt my back years ago when Chiron was quincunx my ascendant from my 8th house. This is like a personal example, and it really did move me into a new situation where I did something. I have my moon rules my ascendant. It's in the sign of Aries. Can be a little impulsive. So like I made this like kind of snap decision due literally to irritation with my ex-husband where I lifted this thing, a really heavy thing, it hurt my back. And it changed my life for quite a while and made a big difference. Sometimes when some of my clients, I can see like a quincunx could also be like, I have a client who like, they got let go of their job, but it pushed them into becoming like changing their whole focus and going into a different career kind of thing. That could be like when something's quincunxing and you don't really see it come in, but there's always like letting go of something with them. And it doesn't have to be bad. It can also be like a positive thing. Like winning the lottery could be like Jupiter,
Yeah.
Quincunx, Uranus, and like, but you're letting go of some things. Like you're letting go of the ability to like not have people call you to ask for a loan who you're related to once you win the lotto, or like, you know, having this difference. So yeah, they're really interesting aspects. And when you have the yod, like the two quincunxes and the sextile at the base, those are really fascinating. And I love the explanation of them. And I've seen this in clients of like, there may be some kind of generational story that the person with the yod, I think Karen Zamaker, I'm not saying her name probably right, but that she talked about how they're there to like express this generational stuff that may have been remaining hidden. And I think that's really true. And when it's triggered, it can be like making the family talk about something that they don't want to talk about, or expressing themselves in a totally different way that's not in line with, you know, their family values potentially. But it's like growth for them to be speaking their own truth or whatever, doing something that their life differently, if that makes sense. Yeah, ancestral healing. Yes, Yogi around the world says.
Yeah.
Says. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh my God, it's such a trip. So I like now. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and there also can be health aspects. I often see that when people have health problems, there's a quincunx that gets activated. Like a natal quincunx.
I agree with actually everything you're saying. It's so trippy. Like, it's so cool. I presented on the Quincunx at the ISAR conference last year in the first harmonic in the natal. So, and one thing to your point that I defined it as a purposeful, relevant anomaly. So you don't see it coming, but it has like this purpose and it's like relevant for your growth. And it's like a keynote out of the norm trait that leaves an enduring signature. So you didn't see it coming, but you knew that, or, you know, when it happens, it actually changes everything, you know, at the end of the day. And like, Celeste, like, this is such a trip because in terms of the intergenerational, like, quincunx and yod thing that you're talking about, we actually discovered this. And one of my students is here, Allie. Hey, Allie. And she was one of the students that we discovered this in one of our harmonic classes together, that the quincunx, and particularly the yod in the 31st harmonic and the quincunx in the 9th harmonic, they appear tied to family stuff. And the 31st harmonic, it's like the crap that you inherited from your family. And then the quincunx in the 9th harmonic is more like the when you were a kid, and it doesn't even matter like if your parents meant it or not, or if your nuclear surroundings meant it or not. Like, it's the sore point from when you grew up and what people told you. Like, for example, if you have a Saturn-Pluto quincunx in the 9th harmonic, you may have just totally grown up poor or something, or your parents told you, we don't have enough, even if you're like super rich or whatever. So you carry this idea of, I don't have enough, there's not enough. It's Saturn-Pluto, like, for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, so anyway, it's, once again, it's a trip how, you know, like astrologers, we can come to, you know, similar conclusions and be on this thing because we're feeling the energy of it. We're noticing it in clients and in transits, you know, we're following it, and then we're kind of like living it. So it's awesome.
I love that. I'm gonna have to watch your talk because I think I still have access to all of the ESAR talks. So I will check that out because yeah, the quincunx is really fascinating. It's people should look to see if you have one in your chart. look what sign it's in, what the planet is, what house it's in, and think about how there's like this misconnection with the other planet with the same thing at sign, house, and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And like this irritation or this like karmic or family story. I love that with the Saturn Pluto. Like, so there's this fear, and the fear of not having enough, like, causes, like, the Saturnian fear causes this like Plutonian like crisis, right? Like like crisis of feeling like, yeah, everything has to be controlled because it could all go away any minute. Is that what you think people like with that? Maybe?
Pretty much exactly, you know, because it's like this fear. And even if you develop aptitude of noticing, and this is also interesting since we're on the Quincunx like topic, like the Quincunx, according to my research, how we were talking earlier, you know, in our talk today about how harmonics just have energy, like, and like the 5 and the 11, they move different ways, but they move. The Quincunx does well in 5 and 11. So the Quincunx kind of like moves or whatever, but when it's stuck, like in the ninth harmonic, it does become that core wound that even if you develop some maturity and aptitude around it, like, it still hurts. It's like the thing that always hurts in the ninth harmonic. It's like, dang, didn't I deal with this in therapy, like, or whatever, shamanic healing? Probably shamanic healing might, you know, address it really well, you know, I don't know, but it doesn't, it's like, there's always like a little tinge to it. That's why it's like eternal puberty. So yeah.
Oh, and that's why you related it to Chiron. Oh, I see. Like, it's something that always kind of hurts a little bit. So vibes being cute, the symbol for the Quincunx looks like a picnic table. So it's like a line, and then they're like two little things on the chart, so you can see it on the chart that way. But it also is 150 degrees. So yeah, you can figure it out, especially if you look at, like, so 0 Aries would be Quincunx, 0 Scorpio, and Virgo would be an example of the Quincunx. Yeah. So, yeah, I love that. And do you have anything else to say about yachts? That's a chart pattern.
Like, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just like, I hope we can talk about yachts before we, you know, move on. Like, yeah, I think the yacht is actually completely helpful. It's from my observations and research, the yacht is kind of more like, they call it the finger of God, right? Like, that's kind of like the general, and a yacht is 2 quincunxes and a sextile. So it looks like, you know, it does look like the finger, like something's pointing. Like, from my experience, the yacht is actually such a beneficial configuration. It speaks to a talent that people possess, but they don't take it seriously. Let me tell you something. Talk about my harmonics and all this kind of stuff. In harmonic astrology, we speak more through planetary pairs than just singular planets. And we build on the pairs, you know? So, and then we call those signatures. So one signature that I promise, like, I already know, because every astrology enthusiast and astrologer, they will have Mercury, Neptune in one of their harmonics. Even if it's not like in their natal chart, it'll be somewhere in your harmonic period. It's that. So, like, anyway, long story short, I have a Mercury, Neptune, Pluto yacht in my 22nd harmonic, which means, like, I can read charts fast. I'm like, you know, innovative 11th harmonic type of astrology, and just doing like energy astrology, and just like really like boom, 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 divine fast, you know? And then, but if you ask me to be like, hey, Clarissa, do you think you're a good astrologer? I mean, I think I'd say yes, you know, now, but it's almost like I don't take it serious.
What? I hope so.
thing like you're good at, and you're like, really? You know, that's what the yacht is. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and explain to Vibes being cute about how the yacht can be beneficial.
Wait, I'm sorry. What? I missed that.
It could be. Oh, yeah. The Vibes being cute said, I never heard of yachts as beneficial. So yeah, like you've been pointed at with this special, this either like this is what you're here to do, or this is something important you're here to like pattern break or something like that. Yeah, I think they're really, really important and beneficial. They can be difficult to deal with, especially as a younger person, maybe. But yeah. Tell us, so what is your yacht? What's at the apex of your yacht? Is it Mercury or is it something else?
Let me get I knew we were about to hyper nerd and I was going to need my astrology software. I have a computer like right here with my astrology software up. So now I have to see what's at the apex. Because I like straight up like forgot. And that's another example of my yacht, my astrology yacht. It's like I'll remember like everything about somebody's chart and then forget their birthday, or I remember everything about, or I know so much about astrology, but then I forget what like it's like stuff like that. So the apex of my yacht, I wish I could show you guys here. It's is Mercury, and it's actually a moon Mercury Neptune yacht. So
okay.
In the 22nd harmonic.
So you have Mercury at the apex, and then you have the moon sextile Neptune at the base. So to me, like that Mercury quincunx the moon, is it sometimes hard for you to, even though your Mercury's in Cancer, like, do you intellectualize your feelings sometimes? Would be one of the questions I would ask you.
Probably because yeah, like unfortunately, I'm over it now. Thank God I'm almost 40, you know, like there's a lot of things that the Saturn return like addresses, you know, like I can be over it and just exist with these energies, you know, but yeah. And then there's also that like Virgo moon thing, which is like, oh my God. And I'm a Cancer sun, and my Cancer sun has the least dignity. So it's like, yeah, absolutely, Celeste.
Oh. Yeah, that could be, I could totally see that. That's so cool. Yeah, so, and no, you don't have to have low self-esteem with a yacht. Vibes being cute. I don't think so. I think it's just like this, yeah, you don't have to have low self-esteem, but it can be like it takes work to synthesize the energies together. But when it's hit by transit, like, yeah, that can be when something like pops into your life around the story that you're working on, or the familial pattern that you're here to adjust.
Yeah,
I would think. Does that make sense, Clarissa?
It totally makes sense. And I also think like with a yacht, you just don't see it. And that's kind of like a Quincunx thing too. Like the yacht, you just don't see the talent, even though you do it automatically and you possess it So I agree that it's not like low self-esteem. It's basically like, I'm literally like, it could be like, you could be like literally WrestleMania, like king wrestler or whatever, and then just be like, oh, I'm just like, why are you guys all impressed? You know? Because that's like the nature. It's just like, you know, not in your awareness, but it's in everybody else's awareness that you can kill it at that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. So, I want to make sure we talk about Estar too. So why don't you tell everybody about ESAR since you're the president of the organization? Yeah. And it does like fabulous talks and all of that stuff, and the conference every 4 years.
Thank you so much. And you know, like, so with that, with ESAR, it's so hilarious. We haven't made the official announcement yet, but it's like a total open secret. And like, so ESAR is the International Society for Astrological Research. We're the largest international membership organization. We've been here since 1979, and I just became president. And so what that looks like is actually really interesting because we're totally in, and I think everybody is, you know, in different ways. We're just Pluto and Aquarius, you know, such that we're like really like modernizing, and like literally we're going to have a new website out by NORWAC. And also kind of modernizing like our programs, you know, kind of get out of the Pluto in Capricorn era and just kind of like invite like more people. We give annual scholarships, like $10,000 to anyone. You don't have to be a member. If you want to study, you know, astrology in any form, go to conferences, take a class, like anything like that, you can apply for our annual scholarships. We just completed the last one. The next one is next year, of course, but like, so we offer, you know, programs like that. We have, you know, global directors in so many countries. I think we're around 40 countries now. And, you know, like really kind of as president, I would just like to see more cool stuff like Celeste, like you know, like, come like do star clubs. We have like a weekly star club webinar where we have astrologers from all around the world just present their research, present their techniques. And it's free for members. Our membership, you know, the annual fee is like less than $100. And then you can astro nerd like with the library for like ever, you know, however long you want to do. So that's a little bit about ISAR and kind of what we're up to.
Yeah, I recommend people join ISAR. And yes, I would love to talk at the Star Club one of these times. That would be so exciting.
We would love to have you, Celeste, and maybe even more stuff, you know, just have your brilliance at ISAR. Like, and everybody would be kind of like gifted. So yeah, let's do it. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And when's the next conference?
Well,
is it
still working that out because there is like so she's talking about the conference that we had last year, ISAR 22, which was so fun. Like literally like
it was so much fun. I loved every minute. The dance party.
I was like, did you go to the dance party? Like that was like amazing.
It was amazing. It was so much fun and so many great talks, and couldn't go to all of them, but we got the recordings for all of them. Yeah, it was just, I just loved every minute of it.
That makes me so happy you had such a good time. Me too, you know, like, and really, I honestly, Celeste, I was surprised by how epic the dance party was. I was like, astrologers can get down? Like, to this level?
They can get. We had so much fun. Yeah, and the Star Club is like every Sunday almost. There's a talk, and then you have access as a member to like thousands of talks on all kinds of topics from all over the world. So it's really a great investment, I think, for anyone who's interested in astrology. And a lot of the people who go to the conference were just interested in astrology. There weren't necessarily practicing astrologers, but yeah. So that's, I highly recommend getting involved in these organizations and supporting them so that they can put on these great conferences and offer all of this wonderful, this wonderful information. Yeah. So I love it. I can't wait to see the new website, because that'll
Trust me. Yeah, no,
that'll be
trust me.
great.
I get it. I was like, hey, like when we were, because it's one of my projects with ISAR. And like when we hired their firm last year, I was like, hey, y'all don't know what you are getting into. So it's going to be a wonderful improvement.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anna's saying
Yeah.
Sarah and Sarah Lahar. Do you know Sarah? She's the global director in Canada. So, yeah, we had such a great time at ESAR. We're going to be, or should I say ISAR? Am I saying it wrong?
Either. Yeah.
Okay. We're both going to be at Norwalk. So we will be seeing you there in Norwalk. It's always Memorial Day weekend in Seattle. So I recommend people that conference too. That's a great conference. Yes. Oh, what's the website, Clarissa?
I'm just going to punch it in right now. isarastrology.org. Just write this out. Boom.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so we only have about 5 more minutes. So tell us, is anything coming up for you that you want to share? Are you teaching anything, or how do people find you?
Oh, thank you,
and all of that
you can find me, like, I'm actually rebranding, so it's like, who am I right now? Like, it's totally Pluto and Aquarius. But you can find me at siderealsoul.com, or just punch in my name in Google, Clarissa Dolphin, and my website will come up. I just put it in the chat real quick. In terms of projects, like Celeste was referring to earlier, I'm the horoscope writer for the Mountain Astrologer magazine, which I also recommend, like, in addition to, you know, the ISAR as a resource and NORWAC and all these things, Mountain Astrologer is the bomb. Like, it's not just because I'm in it. Like, okay, yeah, like, I'll take that, whatever. But, like, it's so good. Like, the whole team, like, the editorial team, like, not just the aesthetics, but just, like, the way the writers, like, it's just the bomb. So yeah, I have many more horoscopes coming out in here. I'll be teaching again for sure, and like doing mentorships and stuff in 2024. I have a talk coming up for ISAR in September, and then NCGR in December. I'm gonna be like, I'm basically in 12th house, solar 12th house Jupiter mode right now. Which is like, I've been in the game for 10 years, and now I have like all of this work, and I'm like, I need to kind of repurpose everything. So I'm going to be creating like lots of courses and lots of more like writing and horoscopes and, you know, classes upcoming. So if you guys want to stay informed or, you know, connected, yeah, just please join my newsletter, and we'll just like stay in touch. And thank you so much, Celeste, for having me. Because like every time I go on Instagram and you come up, I'm just like delighted. Like I'm just filled with joy. So it's like,
thank you so much. That means so much to me. I appreciate it. Yes, and I love you hyping the Mountain Astrologer, because it is incredible. And I love the new, I don't know if it's a new owner or a new editorial team. Like it was redone like a year or so ago, and it's always been high quality content, but there's just amazing articles, and yeah, I highly recommend it for everyone. Yeah. So yeah. Well, thank you so much, Clarissa, for coming, and I can't wait to meet you in person. Yes, yes. And we will. Are you giving a talk at Norwalk?
No, I'm just going to be like at the ISAR table, so we'll be floating around, hanging out the whole time. So see you there.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Great. And I will share this to my wall, and I'll invite you to collaborate if you want to put it on your wall. This has been so great. Thank you for, now I'm going to be all going down, learning more about Harmonic astrology. I might have
I'd
to
be
come get a
honored.
reading to learn more about it. Yeah. Okay. Well, you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and take good care.
Thank you.
Thank you
You're
so
the
much
best.
for joining.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.